Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this narration of the web series Solo Apocalypse, taken from Royal Road. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 9. The morning winks of light came down in sunbeams, piercing the canopy above. The sound of birds and life filled the forest. Somewhere, something splashed in the murky waters. Insects buzzed. Trees swayed in the breeze. Then I stared at the floor, where the brick of the plaza was cut cleanly, spliced with a muddy shore. None of it was a nightmare. It was all real. That certainty pinged my head with mounting dread. My mind flashed back to the horrible scene, eliciting tremors in my hands. His face, lifeless, unaware of being eaten, nibbled on. I could have saved him. If I'd been there earlier and hadn't spent so much time afraid, if I'd gotten there quicker. If I killed the thing faster, I whispered, eyes aimless. If I stood lookout, if I stayed and helped drag him out. I'd been a coward. If I'd paused to help Horace through the webs, he could yet live. Instead, I left it to my clone, to half of my strength. Racking sobs gripped me, my stomach twisted in pain, gouging sorrow and emptiness like a knife to the chest, like two fangs to the chest. I doubled over, grabbing my sides. Why, I repeated softly through tears, face scrunched up in indescribable pain. I wanted to feel it. I needed to know, for it to mean something other than a pointless death. My tears ran dry, the pain faded, and it felt wrong for it. Wrong that something like that could just fade. That I had no more tears. Hunger eventually called me back to the present. Third was already there, handing me a bag of berries. And second, I was there again, standing over the body, forcing myself to remember, crying. I stayed there so long, steeped in blood and gore, that the memory itself burned itself into my irises. I would never forget that scene. I couldn't anymore. The smell, the sight. Dark blood ran across the floor. My eyes stared at Horace, and I found myself whispering my apologies. My gaze as dead as his. You have leveled up multiple times, level 8. Notice, you have gained a class skill, low profile. Skill, low profile. You are immune to unwarranted magical and technological scrying. Abilities, spells, or equipment that reveal your location or details are negated. Your presence can only be detected by physical senses. It was like a punch to the gut. I didn't want it. I wanted none of it to be real. This was nothing compared to what I'd gone through. No comprehension could ever match the horror. And looking at it, a part of me shattered again, wondering at whether the new skill was tailored to what I'd done. Hide, run, cower, left a stranger for dead, all to escape unnoticed, to keep a low profile. The guilt hollowed me, even more when my stomach rumbled, that I had the audacity to feel anything but guilt, that I had the right to feel hunger. I ate mechanically, the small motion of picking berries and fruits from the bag, distracting me enough to be functional. I chose a small blue one, reminiscent of a blueberry. The sweetness burst across my mouth as tears fell on my face. It was the most unfair thing I'd ever tasted. I was crying across all of my clones. Every now and then, one would pause, stare at something, and then keep moving, gathering firewood, tinder, bringing it below. It was the only thing I could think of, the only thing I thought might erase the atrocity and purify the evil I witnessed. I sparked the tinder and watched the entire scene go to flames. It became hot, smoky, and I was forced to leave, to stand outside and watch the building burn. I stood near enough that my tears evaporated, enough for the heat to bear the pain, to cleanse me of my sin, to rid me of my guilt. It didn't work. I needed to go. I didn't know where or how, but I needed to leave. I was a man who had died 3 times over. All in less than a day. A walking corpse with a spider silk backpack full of water, fruits, berries, and any other useful things I could find. I wondered if that had been a hint at what lay beyond the cave, Spider silk. Spider. I watched the building burn down before I left. I needed whatever it was that lay there in the ashes. Closure. Assurance. I needed to know nothing was left. I ducked into the blackened stairwell, sending a clone, and found the scene gone, replaced with piles of ash, drifting motes of grey dust filling the air enough that I returned with the lab mask. I forced my way into the wreckage and found no bodies, no trace of anything left. Even then, I wasn't sure if it was enough. I spent days roaming the swampy forest. I called the thick roots my home, traversing the twisting terrain, became easier as time went on. I stared at the sunset, cowered in the night as beasts howled and foreign noises took to the air. And I sat in the mornings, staring languidly at the forest I knew was hell. I hadn't known hell would look so peaceful, so unassuming. In the place teeming with life, I found myself with only my thoughts. I never spoke, not even to myself, not even for the false sense of company. Second and third ranged from the forest, on constant lookout, watching for danger or hazard. They often turned the other way to spot him. A broken man, stumbling across the roots, tripping, falling, sometimes laying down. He was slow, lethargic as he walked, a world without meaning. It was a harsh truth when you could stare yourself in the eye and see yourself for what you were. That man was me. It took me up until that moment to find my anger again, to dare to survive. If only that I never looked so pathetic. I addressed my reality, my nightmare. For enduring the mental trauma of death 3 times over, your will has increased by 4. Your will is now 19. Notice, for indirectly enduring the physical trauma of death 3 times over, your constitution has increased by 2. Your constitution is now 7. Name, Evan Weist, level 8, class solar, strength 6, constitution 7, dexterity 5, agility 6, perception 9, intelligence 10, wisdom 13, willpower 19, charisma 4, luck 4, stat point 7, skills, never alone, low profile. Willpower was my highest value. Would a lesser person have shattered completely, never to put the pieces back together? The meaning of the value came to me almost instinctively, like I'd known it all along. It was a measure of control, determination, and resolve. It was also so much more than just that. I couldn't put it entirely into words any more fitting than those. Only, no, it is an aspect of myself. That part of me that stubbornly refused to kneel before hardship, the part of me that balked at surrendering. The rest of the attributes were likewise encompassing. I knew too little. Should I increase my constitution, boost my survivability, my strength, or my ability to run away, my agility? None of those helped me, not really. I realized as solo, I had to use never alone as a false multiplier, to scale what I already had. An extra clone gave me half again what I had in physical stats, another set of eyes, and another perspective. The line of thinking ran true. I did the math, brought wisdom up to 17, and said hello to 4th. End of chapter. I would quickly like to thank the Tier 5 members, Marky, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Oakfield, Lord Azrakul, and It's Difficult to Pronounce. Thank you very much.